Microvision's Pixelcast.
Well, now in this video we're going to install a new LCD screen, but it also has the backlight. Awesome! Now the previous video I just replaced the screen by itself on my other extra unit. This one I decided, since this is the best one I have, the one that came complete in the box, decided to put the backlight version in this one. This is pretty awesome. Looking forward to doing this. So let's get started. Well, to begin with, let's take out the 6 screws out of the back right here. Now we got the screws off. Take the back off here. Lay it off to the side. Get the little cardboard insert for the batteries here. This is the later revision board. It only has one set of contacts, so the connection for the backlight is going to be a little bit different than on the earlier board. It had 2 contacts in here. But like I said, if you go to the Voice of the Mummy website, you can see the different solder connections for the backlight. Also, pay attention to how everything is placed inside of here, so when you go to put everything back together, it goes back together in the right order again. In particular, the little piezo element down here, you want to make sure you get it routed right. Let me take this out. You can see where the little wires come out right there. If you crank it over a little bit, they'll pinch those wires and it'll affect the sound. So now next we're going to do, let's get all this stuff out of here. Get the switch pulled out. Lift out the board. Nice and easy. There we go. We'll lay this off to the side. So now we want to remove these 4 screws here to gain access to the LCD screen. Okay, I got the 4 screws out, so I'll lift this off. So now you can see the screen, the old screen. You see it's all rotted in there. And then here's the old tray. You see the polarizer in here. Take that out. We don't need the polarizer anymore. We'll pop that out, lay it off to the side. Pay attention to how your connectors are. Got a shelf connector here. Got a straight through connector there. So you can see the straight through connector goes between these 2 points right here. Shelf connector fits in here. So now what we got to do is we have to modify this tray to make room for the backlight. So we're going to put the old screen back into the tray, and then we're going to have to mark the one side to trim it down in order for the backlight to fit down inside. Now we got the old screen in here. We're going to use it as a template, and what we have to do is we have to put a mark on this ledge over here so we can trim this little wall down a little bit. That provides room for the LCD backlight. And we have to trim these little tabs off the end here as well, so the LED backlight will sit flush. Wires are coming out on this side. So if I'm looking down on it, they're coming out on the right hand side opposite of the connector here. Now what I did is use a black magic marker to put a nice black line right above the LCD. So I've got to grind out all that black to provide room for the backlight. Okay, I installed some painter's tape to help protect my screen, because once you start grinding, those little tiny particles, due to the static electricity of this thing, they'll stick to the screen. They're almost impossible to get off. So this is what the Voice of the Mummy guy suggests to do to help prevent that. Again, I'll put a link down in the show notes to the full guide that shows you step by step in pictures of what I'm doing here in this video. So now let's grind down that little ledge and continue on. Alright, so I got it ground down. Made the little notches here to make room for the backlight, the little angle pieces. So now we'll do a little test fitting. Okay, let's open up the new screen here. Mr. Burbage definitely packaged these really nice. See, connector out of there. Alright. So let's just set this in here temporarily. Doesn't matter which way you put it, as long as you have a connector strip here and a connector strip there, you're good. So now let's do a test fitting of the backlight. Cool. That looks good. Awesome. Now be sure to peel off the protective film on both sides of the screen here, otherwise that could cause problems with the display. So now we're using some painter's tape. We're going to cut some strips, spacer strips, for that little shelf connector. We're going to put 2 strips here on the upper shelf, 1 strip down here on the lower shelf. That'll help give it better connection to the new screen when we put the circuit board back on top. Yeah, there we go. I got the painter's tape down there to help space out the shelf connector. Well, they got the connector in there. It's recommended to take a Q-tip and run along the little shelf connector to make sure you got good connection, which I do. Pretty cool. That just ensures you have good connection with your display when you put it back together. If you find that some of the black ones are not staying adhered to this, I mean there's a warp in the tray. You got to put a little bit more of a shim on that side to get the connector to stay fully engaged with the new screen. So now we're going to solder on the backlight display. Before we begin, let's go ahead and take off the protective cover off the display here, the little plastic sheet. There we go. And since this is the later revision board, we're going to solder to these connections right here. Red will go here. I'll use my pointing device. Red will go here on the purple wire, black will go there. So let's get this soldered on. And now I got it soldered on. Red, black. Awesome. Now when we're assembling the display piece to the motherboard, make sure the black wire is going off to the right, down here, because this is the lit side. Okay, after everything assembled, which was a lot of fun, I did tape it, but I did a lot of fumbling. It's pretty hilarious trying to assemble these things. Basically, go to that website I was telling you about, Voice the Mummy, and look at the pictorial assembly instructions towards the end on how to make sure you get everything put in its right place. You know, like the piezo speaker, your switch over here, how the wires are routed down from the display. He has some really good pictures over there. Anyway, we're going to give it a quick test now. I'll put my cardboard insert back. Got the battery in there. And insert the game. Ooh. Just like so. And then we'll turn it on. Oh. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that looks really good. Oh, yeah. This is cool. Alright, we'll try to play a game here and get some final thoughts. Overall, the kit wasn't too bad to install. It's a little tricky trying to trim down the tray and get all the spacing right, the shims, to make sure the display fully works. I had to take it apart a couple times in order to get the whole screen working on there. Plus trying to juggle that backlit part, that LED backlight, it adds a little bit more of a challenge in getting this thing back together again. If you don't want to tackle this project, he does offer a modification service where you can send your Microvision in. He can either put the old style, the updated screen in without the backlight, or the backlight version of the updated screen. So if you got a Microvision and you're not comfortable with doing these modifications, you can always send it in and let him do it for a fee and send it back to you. It's well worth it, especially this backlit version. I am liking this. Now I kind of wish I would have done the backlight version on the extra one I had. Because I like this. This is awesome. It shows up really good in the dark. So let's try a quick game here. And away we go. See what kind of score I get. Ooh. Ooh. There we go. Oh, it's going to speed up now. Oh, no. Ooh. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, yeah. Oh. Got 26 so far. Oh. 30. Oh. Oh. Rats. Definitely test your hand-eye coordination, that's for sure. Oh, I got 50 points. Anyway, that's the Microvision LCD screen upgrade with the backlight. Thanks for watching.